Good morning. Happy Wednesday, people. We're getting started in just a couple of minutes. Welcome. 10-figure business, formerly trucking mastery. See you in a couple of minutes. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is 10-figure business mastery, formerly trucking mastery, coming to you every Wednesday live stream. And this won't be available on every platform every week. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew this was available. We have a mastermind group here inside of our Facebook. It's called 10-figure business mastery, 10-figure business, formerly trucking mastery, rather. And definitely excited to deliver something that could make the difference inside of what you're up to. Really geared toward the entrepreneur, the small business owner who really wants to see their business take off. They want to see their life transformed through their business. So this is going to be designed to give you the tools, the tactics, the mindsets, and the resources, and even the brain trust to help you level up in whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's a trucking business like how we've been talking with truckers before, or if it's inside of your industry. We specifically work with people who are in service-oriented businesses. So if you're a contractor, if you are somebody who's in the mental health field, you're a clinical social worker, or a psychotherapist, or somebody in that mental health field, we work with you. Insurance people, delivery drivers, cleaning services. Those of you who actually get out and provide services for businesses and individuals, and you're doing the day-to-day work and you really want to take your business to the next level, well, you're in the right place. We're here to deliver that to you, here to make sure that you have all the things that you need in order to take your business to whatever level you want to take it to and beyond. All right, so let's go. Let's get into this. This is going to be a pretty potent webinar today. Pack a little bit of information that really does unpack a lot into your life. That makes sense. So it's really powerful, the talk that we're going to have today. Now, just before we get into it, we do this thing every week where we just go over like what we're about. So here it is. Here's the concept. By the way, this is me, Cheston Bolgen with By the Books Consulting, senior consultant over here at the CFO. And this is how you reach me directly. You can reach us on our website at bythebooksconsultants.com. There's a phone number, toll free, 888-4BTB now. That's 888-428-2669. And we do accounting, bookkeeping. We do QuickBooks advisory, the technological components, like other things that you might use to run your business. We'll help you put those pieces together. Tax planning and tax services. Tax planning and strategic tax planning is a big deal. All right, you want to be able to keep more of your hard-earned money. We help you come up with a strategic plan to do that. Make sure you're set up the right way and you have the right behaviors so that you can keep more money. And we also do consulting, like operations consulting inside of your business. And the conversation that we've been in all year is about systems and structures. Okay, that has to do a lot with that part. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you actually step by step build the components of your business and have them work day in and day out? How do you identify those processes? And then how do you hold yourself and others accountable for them? Okay, so that's kind of what we do over here. And we also want to make sure, and real quick before we get into that, just a disclaimer we put on here every time we do these webinars. The following is for educational purposes only and is not to be considered financial, accounting, or legal advice. Please consult your tax, accounting, and or legal professional for specific advice. And good morning to you all that are showing up on the call now. Good to see you. Good to be with you. And as we go through this, I definitely want to get your feedback. So if you want to comment in the chat, you want to let us know here, like the things that you really want to talk about that would make the difference inside of what you're doing in your business, let me know. We will bring that to the conversation. We will give you clarity and an action plan, even on these live webinars, that will make the difference. One thing I found out inside of working with other businesses and building businesses of my own is that focus is key. There's so many things that we can do. And I want to say this. A lot of information out here. It can be information overload, overwhelm. But the thing that's going to make the difference is the one piece of information that we apply right now. What are you going to actually take on? What are you going to do? Where's your focus point? When we get that focus point, we understand what we're going to take on. That's where the difference gets made. That's where you actually start seeing things move forward with velocity. You put all your attention, all your power into one area, you get that completed, and boom, man, you just go forward and with velocity, and then you can move on to the next thing. So what's going to be that thing for you? What do you want to really bring to this conversation that will make the difference? We talk about a lot of things, but I know you go through things outside of this topic per se in business. And it's like, well, what do I do? What do I do? How do I get this thing done? I don't know. I'm spinning my wheels and I'm on my own. I don't know how to do this, and I don't have the help that I need. Well, now's your opportunity to actually reach out and let me know. We'll go over these things. We'll actually put the brain trust together and make sure you're moving forward in your business. Okay. 10-figure business mastery. Okay, this is, we talk about this philosophy that we have. It's based on 4 tenets, 4 pillars rather. And really, they are designed so that you and I can achieve freedom, wealth, and legacy in what we do. Okay. So if that's what you're looking for, then you're in the right place. If not, then you're not in the right place. You're in the place where you don't belong. Okay. So what are these 4 tenets that we're talking about? What are the 4 pillars that we stand on inside of this group? Number 1, we talk about mindset mastery. Another terminology we use is called intentionality. Very powerful thing here to start with, right? If you don't have this, then the probability of you actually accomplishing what you set out to accomplish is very small. You have a low probability. We have to really be clear on what it is that we're looking to create and stay focused on that. Solely, there's an integrity that's wanted and needed for you to actually have the mindset mastery, which means that I actually say something and I do it. We talked about focus, like what area are we going to go focus on that's going to make the difference inside of what you're doing. Well, intentionality gives us that focus, right? And the mindset mastery is what that's about. So the other pillar that we have is financial mastery. It's really financial literacy. We do have a lot of these conversations in the group. Sometimes you just don't understand how to read a financial statement. You don't understand what it means. And even when you do understand what it means, you might be given information that's not necessarily accurate, and it could be misleading. But how do you know if this information is not accurate and misleading, right? It's sort of understanding what the truth is behind it. It has to make sense, like in any language. There wants to be what we call coherence. It needs to line up. If something is out of a line, then we know that we need to adjust it to bring it back into reality. What is the real truth? I was on a call with our team the other day, and we're looking at financials, and there was something that needed to be adjusted in there, and it was a specific transaction, like an inventory transaction. And the guys on my team were working on this, and they just couldn't see that this was not the truth. It is a skill set that you want to develop. You want to be able to see these things off the bat. Like I looked at it and say, hey, look, this is not reality. This is a story that doesn't represent anything other than fiction. It's not. It's like a mystical story. The numbers never lie. Money comes from somewhere, it goes to another place. right? If we can understand the flow of it, then we know without a shadow of a doubt that the things that we're looking at are giving us a clear picture. But we want to be able to have systems in place, and we're talking about, this whole thing about systems, right? Which is the next tenet. We want to have structures in place, which is system mastery, in order to deliver those that reality, that clarity inside of what we're doing. Just like we're reading the financial statement, we got to know that this thing is actually accurate and give us the proper information. That is a system, that's a structure we want to have in place to deliver that. All right. Important. Businesses are run, in case you didn't know, by the way, solid businesses develop solid systems. They develop solid structures. What they do with these systems, structures, what they do is give us something called leverage. Leverage allows us to do more with less. The more efficient the structure, the more leverage, the more power we have to do more. All right, that's the importance of systems and structures. All right, so you want to really be in this conversation that we've been in all year. We've been in this realm of systems / structures, and you want to get good at building those, identifying those, and building those within your own business. And it could be simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. As a matter of fact, the best structures and systems are simple. And his last tenet is actions or execution mastery. Oh man, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters until we start delivering things out here on a day-to-day. We put the foot to pavement, and we go out here and take the actions necessary to produce the results. Okay. So these are our tenets. This is what we actually focus on inside of the group. We also want to make sure that we are available to present any feedback to you if you have questions about your own specific business. So feel free to chat, to chime in, to let us know exactly what that's going to look like for you, what you need to know in order to create these things in your business. Whether it's going to be, my mindset, man. Things just don't seem like they're working out for me all the time. It's frustrating. You feel it, man. So you want to really get that mindset in check. Or you don't understand the number story. Get on a discovery call. Get on a strategy session with me or a member of my team, so we can help you understand the financial story. What about systems and structures? If you don't know what these things are, if you can't identify them, you might need somebody to bump heads put heads together rather, and find out exactly what those systems are inside of your business that will make the difference. Get on a strategy session. And then actions, right? Sometimes you don't feel like taking actions, which is inside mindset mastery, but sometimes you just don't know what actions are going to make the difference. So you want to get clear on that as well. So bring that to the conversation. All right, guys. So we're still in this conversation about driving things forward in 2023. And we're talking about structures. Okay, so good conversation last week about what kind of structures you want to have inside the trucking industry. But now we're going to flip the script. We're going to talk about something that's universal to you as a small business owner, you as an entrepreneur, and you're building your business. And you want to create systems. All right, there's a thing called, what you can measure, you can manage, and what you can manage, you can master. Okay, so everything wants to be measured. You want to see and identify those things in your business that you can actually measure. Once you can measure them, you can actually see what's going on, and then we can start to manage them. Oh, this is happening. Now I can actually make an adjustment to change it from being this way to a way in which I intend. I really want a specific result, and I see what's happening. Well, now I can adjust to get the result that I actually want to get. And then now mastery inside of that. We do this thing over and over again. We get practice at it. We develop a system. It becomes automatic. We just know how this thing is going to go. We can make adjustments on the fly. Decisions can become quick and easy. And now we're growing. We're killing it out here in business. Okay. So we want to understand indicators that indicators that we're going to use in order to measure. We want to understand these indicators. What are the indicators that we have? And that allows us to determine our focus point. And then we want to have accountability, which means that we actually will do these things day in and day out. We give our word to something, we keep creating this thing over and over again. So indicators. I wanted to break this down into simple terms, right? I wanted to make sure that it was understandable, and it might be a little technical at the same time, but I want to make sure that you guys know. Indicators. Indicators indicate something, right? To be plain and simple. Indicators indicate something. They tell us information. Just like you have on a dashboard of a vehicle, you have like little dials. They tell you how fast you're going. They tell you how much fuel you'll have left in the vehicle. They tell you, the temperature of the engine, and so on and so on. So these are indicators that let us know something. We want to identify the indicators for you. There are two types of things that we're talking about here in terms of indicators. There's one, lagging indicators. Okay. So what are lagging indicators? This is what a lot of people focus on, whether you realize it or not. There's a certain outcome, there's a certain result that you experience in life. For example, in business, well, you might look at, what you did in sales for the first quarter. The first quarter was just over last month. You might look at, what you do in revenue, what you bring in, how much money did you bring in? Like, and you look at it in comparison to how it was the prior year. And if it's up, you're like, yes, we did great. And if it's down, it's like, man, what happened? Right? Well, this is what we call a lagging indicator. There's nothing you can do about it. It's based on historic events. But it tells us all of the result that we've actually received from that historical behavior. It's good. And a lot of us place too much emphasis on it. We definitely want to know when we hit our targets in terms of, the financial and, and other targets that we have inside of our business, whether it's going to be, customer service, it's going to be, how much money we get to make and how much money we get to keep, or how much we're growing. Those numbers really do give us some hope inside of what we're doing. Or if it's the opposite, and if you're not doing well, it could cause despair. So we want to actually manage how we process lagging indicators. They're good to let us know if we hit the target, but that's all they're good for. Lagging indicators. It's everything that has happened up until now, is what this is telling me. The results and impact of that. And this is where I see a lot of people, they like, this happens in real life. Like when we look at even our health, when you go to the doctor and they check your vitals, your blood pressure, your heartbeat, and they put you on a CT scan, they put you on EKGs and all this stuff, and they're just reading what's happened, what's happening in your body. And they put a lot of emphasis and weight on like what's showing up so that you can actually make a change. This is what this is good for. Either keep doing the same things or make a change. Get on the scale, your weight. It's like, oh man, I'm overweight here. That's what that lagging indicator gives us. It gives us awareness of what it is up until now. Now we have a choice. Either keep doing things the same old way or change something. Clear choice. This is the power inside of lagging indicators. And this is what we want to use it for, to give us choice. What are we going to do moving forward? All right. So that's lagging indicators. The other thing that we have, bear with me, guys. We have something called leading indicators. Now, leading indicators are based on actions. So what do I mean? These are action focused indications. Like, what am I actually doing every day? Am I measuring what I'm doing? Do I have a system? Do I have a structure to measure what I'm doing? If not, well, we know we need to start here, because it's going to be the leading indicators. This is what really drives your results in life, period. This is like leading indicators give you the correct lagging indicators, correct, quote unquote, correct lagging indicators, or the intended ones is what it really wants to be, the intended lagging indicators. Well, what do I mean? So, you got sales calls, right? Like people in business, we want to do a certain amount of sales. We want the revenue to go up. We want the money to show in the bank account. We want to know that, this time last year, we weren't as good as we were this time this year. We're better this year than we were last year. We want to know those things, right? We want to see that out here, the lagging indicators. But it's going to be the leading indicators, the things that I actually do every day that drive those other things like sales and how it improves year over year. The amount of assets that we grow in the company, the amount of impact we have in the community, the amount of customers that we have on the books. It's the leading indicators, the actions that determine this. So if I'm not measuring these, well, I'm not going to really know exactly what is driving my numbers. Something is, but you're just not measuring it if you don't have a system in place. And the numbers there really don't lie. Like if you're going out here and you want to have a 7-figure per month type business, and you don't have, and you're operating at a less than 6-figure per month type business, then most likely you don't have a system in place to really hone in and measure these leading indicators. This is what's going to make the difference. Sales. How many calls am I making? How many connections? How many new leads do we have coming in? How much is our ad spend? What is our return on ad spend? Right, that's another lagging indicator. Right, first I have to have the activity, which is going to be the money that I spend on ads, then the ads that we put out. That's a more so of a leading indicator. And then we can look at, okay, what is the result of us taking those actions, which would be the ROAS, return on ad spend. These are the things that we want to have in business to let us know that we are actually doing the job and moving forward. So many times in life that I've experienced, there's like a conversation, a way of thinking that life is a mystery. Like something is happening just to me, right? Like there's some type of mystical reason to why my numbers don't look the way I want them to look, and it's never a mystery. We can always go back to these things. Well, how much activity? How many people did I get on the phone with? How many calls did I get scheduled where I'm actually having these conversations with people about making a difference in their lives? How many emails am I sending out? How many of these calls, like webinars, are we having? How many networking events did we go to this period? This is all sales related activity. How many times did we actually ask for the referral? Right? So if you don't have specific tools to measure these things, then you're going to be shooting in the dark. You're not really going to know what your business is doing. Now, we're talking about leading indicators now, but we're talking about lagging indicators before. The emphasis always wants to be on these, the latter. Leading indicators. What are your activities today, and are you measuring your activities today? What are the key things that you really want to measure today? What systems do you have in place to measure these things? A lot of times you could have like a spreadsheet, right? Spreadsheets can help you measure the activity. So you put on a list, okay, I made this many calls today to these contacts. This is how many people said yes. This is how many people said no. Boom. Good. Simple structure. And then is it scalable, right? What kind of system do you have where you can actually have other people come in, buy into this structure so that you can see everything across the business? Now, there are a lot of tools out here to do that. You have CRMs, so client relation management systems, your client relation management software, right? So now if we have these things, then we can actually assign certain tasks and review the activity of our sales team. And if it's just you right now, that sales team is just you. So if you get really good at managing yourself and watching your activities and measuring your activities, well, then you'll be able to teach somebody else how to do the same thing and be able to correct them in the event that they need correction. What about other things? When you're an asset-based company, like a lot of you guys are truckers, they're trucking companies, right? So this is an asset-based company. So you want to be able to grow these assets in your company systematically. Now, how do you do that? You have to actually measure, well, what is it that you're using your money for? Are you reinvesting into the company in the way of assets, obtaining more assets? When you get the sales, when you have the profits, are you buying more equipment, right? That's actually allowing you to improve capacity? Or are you just spending your money without thinking about it? A lot of us do this. Like a lot of us just get the money and we just put it somewhere. We're not really thinking about it. We don't have an intentional system in place to grow the business in terms of assets. Like, what type of units am I looking to buy over the next 3 months? Is there a systematic process that, well, I want to grow my company to 10 million in the next year. And right now I'm at, 5 million. So I have to double the amount of, sales that I bring in, amount of revenue that I bring in. And for a company like a trucking company, it's simple. Well, I'm doing this much capacity now. I need to double the capacity. In order to double the capacity, I need to invest in more assets, more drivers. So there wants to be a plan in effect to say, okay, I've taken this profit and I've actually grown this month by 1/12 of what we have on the books in terms of assets. Now, if you're not that clear with what you're doing, then you want to be that clear with what you're doing, right? Everything that we do in business wants to have intentionality behind it. We want to actually have these things measured out here so that we can manage these things and then master them over the course of our business. And it becomes no longer a mystery, is what I want to say. Businesses do not have to be a mystery. The experience that a lot of us have as entrepreneurs is, we have seasons where money just comes in and it's like, man, this is good when money comes in, but then you have a dry period. It's like, what happened? Why is it that I don't have any money coming in right now? Well, because, the real reason for the most part, I'd say 90% of the time is because we're just focused on the lagging indicators. We're not focused on leading indicators. What are some other things that we can look at to actually have a system in place, a structure in place to look at leading indicators? Well, we have things like, the news. Right? I'm not a big fan of watching the news, to be honest with you. Most of it's negative. It doesn't serve me. Doesn't add anything to what I'm doing on my day to day. But there are some things in there that we want to pay attention to. Like, what are the new laws that are coming up that impact my industry? What is the new technology available that could impact the trajectory of how this business is going to be for me in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? These are some real good things that we can use as leading indicators to determine our next course of action. For example, if you're in the trucking industry, you might know that California is actually producing a law that by 2045, you're not going to be able to purchase any other vehicle besides ones that are electric, like heavy duty vehicles. You're not going to be able to buy a truck unless it's electric truck, like zero emission. That's where it's headed. Other states have been adopting that same philosophy in an effort to make sure that we have environmental sustainability. So if you're not present to these things, if you're not aware of these things, and you keep moving down the line, and it's 5 years down the line, you're going to have a hard time, operating and moving when other companies have actually gotten on board with this thing and they're ahead of the game. You're going to hurt. It's going to be a real hard situation for you, and you're going to wonder why is it always that you end up on this side of things in life. Like, man, the same things never seem to work out for me. Man, I wish I would have the luck that everybody else has. But it's not luck, man. It's like you have it right here. You have to take the actions. You have to see it. You have to use the leading indicators to actually say, okay, this is the action I'm going to take. This thing is coming down the pipe. A lot of things are coming down the pipe that you want to be aware of. And you want to have a system in place to be aware of what is impacting the industry that you're in. And take those actions, right? Have the accountability there to take the actions. Which brings us to our next thing. We're talking about accountability. Okay, so accountability is one of those things that we want to make sure that we have in our business. So what does that mean? We talked about leading indicators, we talked about lagging indicators, but now we want to have, systems to measure each of these things consistently and reliably. There's so much technology out here that we can use to measure things. QuickBooks Online is a system, right? It's a structure that we can use. It's a technological tool that we can use in order to measure exactly the financial story. And I love it because, the financial story tells us a lot. It really does give us a clear picture of what has been happening up until now. Lagging indicator, okay? Then it allows us to actually focus on what we call our leading indicators, which are the actions that we're going to take to get the result that we really want in business and in life. All right. So if you have a structure like a QuickBooks to manage to actually measure what's happening in your business, fantastic. Use it to the fullest. Understand that technology to the fullest, so that nothing escapes your awareness inside of your business. Right. And then in the process of doing that, the process of using this tool, you can train others on certain parts of that so that they can actually do that. We talk about managing the people in the system effectively. This is really what that looks like. Right. First, I have to understand the technology and the tools I'm going to use. I need to understand like the processes, the workflows, the standard operating procedure for using these technologies, so it's going to deliver exactly what it is that I say that I want. Then I need to be able to manage the people, starting with myself. What are the daily things that I'm doing in order to process these things? For example, I check in every day and I go down the line and I see exactly like where we stand with our company. Like who's actually on target for their financials this month, who's lagging behind, who hasn't produced their statements, who is it that I need to make a phone call to move them forward. I have to come in and check in every single day in our systems to see, well, who's behind and who's on target, who's ahead of the game. Every day I have a call with Marielle, my assistant there. She's actually in the background here. Every day we check in. System, structure. Make sure we start the day with some clear intention in mind. What are we looking to accomplish for the day? And then we identify the key things we're going to do inside of those systems. So we have, team meetings, we have a Zoom, we have all these things that are leading indicators, actions to take to make sure that people are trained and developed to do the job they need to do. Right. So that we increase the value, which increases our relationship with our customers, which increases the amount of customers that want to come back and be recurring and want to refer, and all these other things that go along with that. Then we have marketing and all these other things that we do. Like even this call is a part of the actions that we take in order to move things forward in the direction that we want to move them in. Right. So the first thing I need to do is be accountable to myself. What I say is what I do. Period. The word that I give, I honor it. And when that doesn't happen, I put that back in alignment. Because it's going to be that thing that actually enables me to hold other people account inside of our system effectively. Right. So what I want to say about that is it always starts over here where you are. Manage yourself effectively, understand the systems inside of your business so that you can do them day in and day out. Pick one thing. Now, if you're listening to this call and like you're just getting started out with your business, or you've been in business for a few years and you really haven't developed these systems as clear as what I'm talking about, then just pick one thing and master it. That one thing that you master in terms of leading and lagging indicators and accountability, that one thing could make the entire shift for you in your business. It could make the difference. You could have everything else going like pretty good, and this one shift for you to really focus on the level of accountability that you have to yourself and to a system that you create will transform your business. You'll never go back to being the same. So pick the one. So if you're here and you've been in business for a while and you have a lot of systems developed, I invite you to consider reviewing like what you have there and seeing if it's working for you. Are you really accountable for these things? Or do you just have so many things like systematically involved that it's too much for you to hold everybody accountable? Do you need to do an audit in a revamp to the systems that you currently have in place? And then really focus and hone in on the thing that's going to really transform your business and take it to the next levels. All of us are here to have progress, guys. These things inside of what you do are going to make the difference. What I want to leave you with is the importance of focus. The focus point is really going to be on the things that we're going to measure in our business, how we're going to manage them effectively so we can master it. That's what I want for you. The end of that, the outcome of that is removed limitations on what it is you're doing in your business. You will have the experience of quantum leap forward inside of what you're doing. You'll be able to have that thing that you've been working so hard for this whole time, the thing that's always elusive, the thing that you say, man, when is it that I can actually get a break, take a break and stop? And when is it I can actually just kind of relax and chill? And this thing is actually built, and this thing is working for me. You experience that sooner than later. Take this on. All right. With that being said, it's been a pleasure being with you. I enjoy these talks, guys. Hey, make sure you like, comment, share on this, whatever platform you're on, whether you're chiming in from YouTube, Facebook, on group, or wherever you are in. Definitely like, share, comment, and I'll see you next week. Take care, guys.